At Shelter Insurance, we've found that peace of mind offers some real advantages. That's why we work hard to make things easier for you. By sheltering your cars, by sheltering your home, by sheltering your toys, by sheltering your life. Peace of mind. Isn't that the best shelter there is? Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter Agent Mark Manning about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.
Hello again, everybody. Let's talk sports with Bud Black. I'm David Black, and the program, as always, brought to you by the Bank of England Mortgage Company in the Newport Village Mall. Kenny Thaxton, member FDIC and equal housing lender. If you're in the market for a home loan, I recommend Kenny. I highly recommend him for his professional services. If you're looking for money to buy a home, there's no other place to go than Kenny Thaxton at the Bank of England Mortgage Company out at the Newport Village Mall. His phone number is 870-495-3931. Not only professional service, but you'll like what that guy does. He will help you get financed on your home purchase. If you're thinking about refinancing, you want to possibly lower your interest rate, give Kenny a call at that number and see what he can do for you. Lots of sports going on, or lots of activities fixing to start. When it's fall time and when it's August, the first thing we start thinking about is football. When September rolls around, and most of the games, the college games are going to start in August. The high school games are going to start in August. The Hogs and the Red Wolves will start September the 1st. But I wanted to look at, first of all, the Newport Greyhounds, and coming off back-to-back great seasons. Looking forward to a fantastic year from the Newport Greyhounds. They should be solid, solid, solid. A great group of young sophomores coming up to join the junior and senior class. It should be an interesting year. Hounds will play six away games, only 4 home games, and of course that flip-flops next year. But we open up at Pottsville on August the 31st. Then we play at Greene County Tech, and then Lone Oak, the first home game, will be the 3rd playing date, and then at Walnut Ridge, and then at Hoxie. So 4 out of the first 5 are going to be on the road. A big challenge for a football team that should be able to handle the challenge. Then a game at Newport with Harrisburg. Manila on October the 12th is a home game, and then at Corning, at Piggott, and then with one of the preseason favorites to win it all, the Osceola Seminoles, will come back to Newport as they did last year, and we'll finish the season at home against Osceola. It should be a great year for the Newport Greyhounds, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you here on Cable 15 TV, and of course on the website at cable15tv.com, and our Facebook page at Cable 15 TV, as well as on YouTube. Well, the Arkansas Razorbacks and Coach Chad Morris, they're hard at work during the August preseason. If you look at their schedule, you think the Hogs have got a chance to win some football games this year. They open up at home against Eastern Illinois, not necessarily a powerhouse, on Saturday, September the 1st at 3 p.m. Football game will be on television on the SEC network. And then on Saturday, September the 8th at Colorado State, also a very winnable football game. That's a CBS game. Saturday, September the 15th at Fayetteville against North Texas State. That's a very winnable football game. And then they go on the road, their first conference game, their first conference test, at Auburn. And when you get in the SEC, folks, let me tell you what, it is a knockdown, drag-out every Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. And if you look at the schedule, I think the schedule really favors Arkansas on even when you look at their schedule for the SEC. At Auburn, as we say, and then they have Texas A&M in their annual game down in Arlington. Fayetteville will host Alabama the next weekend. Little Rock will host Ole Miss the next weekend after that. And then back-to-back games against Tulsa in a non-conference game at Fayetteville. And then back in conference, Vandy on the 27th of October at Fayetteville. Then LSU at Fayetteville before going on the road to Mississippi State and at Missouri. It should be an exciting year for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Can Chad Morris get this football team turned around? We will see. Solid football program on a great foundation, folks, right here in Northeast Arkansas, going on over in Jonesboro. ASU, the Red Wolves, are solid, solid, solid. Perennial conference champion. They'll be in the hunt again this year. And they have a schedule that will be very, very demanding, to say the least. But the experts say, they say that ASU could be one of the top 25 teams in the nation, and there are a couple of polls that reflect what the experts say. They start their year by hosting Southeast Missouri, and then on the road to Alabama, the Crimson Tide. That's right, ASU going to Alabama on the second playing date. Then going to Tulsa to play on the third playing date, and then at Jonesboro, UNLV. Conference play starts. They go at Georgia Southern, play home Appalachian State and Georgia State, then at Louisiana Lafayette. They play South Alabama at home in Jonesboro the next week, at Coastal Carolina, at Carolina, ULM in Jonesboro, Texas State at San Marcos, and that will finish out the year for Blake Anderson and his crew. And let me assure you, these guys are set up to go to a bowl game once again. They're going to be one of the top 25 teams in the nation, according to the experts. We'll see what we shall see. And, you know, I would be remiss without mentioning what Bud Black loved the most, and that's his St. Louis Cardinals. And most importantly about the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter has simply been outstanding the last several months, leading the National League in home runs. He was batting 150 about 2.5 months ago, and people were talking about, well, he lost it. He's never going to play again. They're probably going to release him. This guy has really turned it on. And they brought up a lot of those young players from Memphis. Memphis is not quite as good as what they once were, but let me tell you what, these young guns, especially on the mound and in the outfield, been absolutely superb for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lots of baseball coming up, the playoff series, the World Series coming in October/November. Hope to get it through by October. And, of course, high school and college football, nothing greater than high school football. I do want to mention one thing. On October the 12th, the Newport Greyhound School District, Newport Booster Club, is going to honor the high school football team of 1968, an undefeated football team. One of our great, great teams of all time, the 68 Newport Greyhounds. This is the graduating class of 1969. Undefeated, 10-0, and just a tremendous football team with a lot of guys that are still living here in Newport, Arkansas. We're going to honor that team. Hope you guys can show up for that game, one of the 4 home games here at Newport. But mark your calendar for October the 12th, honoring the 68 football team, undefeated Newport Greyhounds, winning their last football game that they played against Batesville, the last Thanksgiving Day game that ever played, and these guys won the football game. I'm David Black for Bud Black on Sports. Until next time, get by there and talk to Kenny Thaxton if you need a home loan. WRMC Medical Complex in Newport. We get to visit with Dr. Praveen. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, sir.
Pain management doctor. We're going to talk a little bit about pain management and how we work on pain. But first of all, we want to find out a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about you, about growing up, where you grew up, and tell us a little bit about your medical training.
I was born in India, and I did my schooling back home. And after I finished my school, I joined into medical school at Bangalore Medical College. It's one of the reputed medical colleges back home. After I finished my medical education, I did join anesthesia post-graduation.
Okay.
After that, I came here, worked as a research fellow at Cardiovascular Research Institute in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, okay.
After that, I got into matched into physical medicine, rehabilitation medicine.
Okay.
I did my training, 4 years of training in PM&R at Lexington, Kentucky.
Yes, yes.
And after I finished my residency, where I did learn managing acute and chronic pain both in musculoskeletal medicine and other areas of specialties such as spinal cord injury,
Absolutely.
Traumatic brain injury, several other fields. Then I did cancer pain management at Texas Tech Health Sciences.
Texas Tech,
in
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock, Texas. And after that, I joined here as an attending physician at White River Pain Management Center, and I am happy to be here.
Well, you bet, you bet. Well, we're happy to have you here in Newport, and you're here 4 days a week. Annie was telling us, and I'm always curious, Doc. When along the way as a kid, when did you decide, or was it later on in life, when did you decide you wanted to be a doctor? How did that come about?
For some reason, I was really fascinated by the idea of being a doctor, and I perceived it, and I never had any other second thought, so I eventually matched and did my residency training.
Yeah. So, young person decides you want to be a doctor, and it's all you've ever wanted to be, and it's what you've been. And
that's what I wanted to be, and I pursued my passion. And
absolutely.
And it has been passion, although it's a very long journey, though. But I did pursue it, and I really love what I do, helping people, treating their pain.
Well, I want to talk about pain, and you hear these terms a lot. You hear acute pain, and then you hear chronic pain, and people say, "Well, I've got this chronic pain." Kind of explain the difference between what acute pain is and chronic pain, and how we go about treating the chronic pain.
Sure. Acute pain is something like when you have an injury, they come to the hospital or come to the clinic. That's called an acute pain. If this pain persists and continues longer than anticipated, I mean, we use the definition 3 months is the course, and if it goes beyond 3 months, and we call it as chronic pain. And yes, managing the pain is different for each.
Sure.
So first, initially, we analyze what exactly is the reason for the cause for the pain.
Okay.
Suppose if it is like any injury, of course, it's going to get healed. It heals over a period of time, within weeks. Then after that, even if it still persists, then we try to find out what exactly is causing the pain in terms of x-rays or in terms of imaging,
sure.
Whatever the workup is necessary. So then the plan of management also differs depending upon what exactly is the condition the patient is presenting. So it's a wide spectrum, and depends like whether we are treating for a no pain or a musculoskeletal pain.
Sure.
Or we determine that when we see the patients.
I think one of the things, and of course, you know, in today's society, we hear so much about opiates and so on and so forth, but, and I read this on the website, one of the things that we try to do is we're trying to get you off the medicine. We're trying to get the pain stopped completely where you won't have to take medicine, and certainly in pain management, one of the things that you do. And tell us about your being here at Newport, how many days a week, and of course, your WRMC Pain Management Clinic in Batesville, but you're here in Newport. Tell us about like the days that you're here.
I'm here 4 days a week, Monday through Thursdays, and Friday is my office days. I come here, I see the patients, evaluate them for whatever the conditions they come for, acute pain or chronic pain. Then I determine what kind of management is best for them in terms of medications. The goal of pain management is not to put the patient on pain management, what the general population or the public thinks. It's basically we want to try to see if we can get them better without the medications.
Absolutely.
The best with the therapies or any modalities or any interventions with therapies or injections. That's the primary goal. It's not just put the patients on pain medication.
Absolutely.
And
it's an interesting field.
It is.
And you talked about the broad spectrum of it. I mean, because you could come in here from a pain in the head to the neck to the back to the leg to the foot to the. I mean, you have pain everywhere.
Yes.
And but you guys have to just go in there and once you do the workup and so on, and you get to the bottom of it, and you got to enjoy what you're doing, and you say that you love what you're doing.
Right. Yes, I do love. And when I see the patients initially, I do try to find out what exactly is the cause for pain. That drives our management and treatment plan.
Absolutely. And we have a couple of other people here that also see patients, and who are they?
Yeah, we have Dr. McCourt. In addition to me, I mean, we have Dr. McCourt, we have a nurse practitioner, Chanel, and several other pain management colleagues of mine. They do work in Batesville. Dr. Siddiqui, we have Dr. Larson.
Right.
We have a new addition to our group, Dr. Rossetti. So it's a nice teamwork.
and enjoying every minute of it.
Yes.
Dr. Praveen, it's always interesting to find people that are in depth into their field, and
Sure.
and pain management is just one of those things that it's always intrigued me. I've seen Dr. Siddiqui before. I've gone through the injection part. Just wonderful, wonderful job that they have done for me. But it's my pleasure to get to see and welcome to Newport, Arkansas. And of course, it's referral. Is that correct? You have to get referral from your primary care physician.
Yes, we are referrals. We take referrals. We are primarily specialists. So whenever the primary care thinks that they cannot manage the patient pain, they can refer to us.
Absolutely. This is Dr. Praveen. We're at White River Medical Complex in Newport, and as part of the WRMC Pain Management Group up in Batesville, and seeing patients 4 days a week. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Executive Director of the Newport Economic Development Commission is John Chadwell. This is John Chadwell. I'm David Black, and we're going to talk economics in our community. Economics is one of those big words you go, that's part of economy. The economy's going on. We're having some economy. We're having some economic growth. We're doing quite well in Newport and Jackson County, my friend.
We're doing well. We've had 300 jobs almost added just the first half of this year, which is really good. We've got a lot of people looking at us. We're on track to have our highest year of prospects that have looked at Newport that we've ever had. Some in categories that we really need. We have people in housing, we have people in retail looking at us. The new apartments that have been built over on McLean, they're already all rented up. He's got a waiting list. We got some others looking at building new apartments as well. In conversations with some developers, hoping to attract somebody maybe to come in and build some new single-family houses to buy. So there's a lot of activity, a lot more activity than we have had in Newport in a long, long time. And it's keeping us hopping up here.
Well, we sat here and had a 10-minute visit before we got on, and I don't know how many times your phone rang, but it was several. And you said it's been that way for the last, so many weeks or so, but it's good. Growth's good, and with that comes excitement for the community.
It does. Grangus is hiring the people that for those 100 jobs that they have, and we've had a lot of people. I know one of the questions folks ask is always, well, how are these companies going to find employees? Well, we have pretty strong commuting patterns. People for a good job will drive from a pretty big circle to come into Newport and work. The average person who drives in for one of our higher level jobs is about 50 miles away. Right. So that's a pretty good radius of people, and Grangus has not had a problem getting applications. Now there's a few specialties out there that it's hard for any of our companies to hire, but that's just because there's nationwide, there's few people in those specialties, and so it's highly competitive. We're working with ASU Newport to see if there is a way that we can do some local training on those specialties, so that which would be beneficial to us for our local existing industries, because hey, they can find the employees they want, but it'd be beneficial to us as we recruit industries too, because they know, hey, we're going to come in, and maintenance electricians is one of the ones that's hard to find. But if they say, hey, we always have a problem, we're looking, but we always have a problem finding maintenance electricians, then we can say, hey, look, we got a college that does this. They train these people, they put them on there. And so that'll be a positive. So we're working along that line too. The 2 medical marijuana cultivators are getting ready to break ground now that a lot of the legal hassle is over. And so they'll be starting their operations, and hopefully by the end of the year, they'll have their 50 people each hired. The behavioral health unit at Unity Health,
big.
They've already hired their folks, and that's going to be a huge addition to the community. So we're seeing activity, and one of the nice things is sometimes you'll see economic activity in like one sector. Maybe the steel industry will do good and nothing else, but we're seeing it just kind of across the community in all sectors. We're seeing economic activity in housing, we're seeing it in retail, we're seeing economic activity in our manufacturing, in healthcare, in education. So we're seeing this economic activity, and part of what we've got to do as a community is say, where do we need to still continue to improve? You don't sit back and just say, oh good, we got some activity, let's just ride a little while. But you have the opportunity then to improve, and part of what we've got to improve is livability of the community. We have 2,000 people a day driving into this town to work that go home somewhere else. So what is it that would make them want to live in this community? What can we do, what can we change that makes the community more attractive to them? And so as we explore those things and interview those people, then we can turn around and start to work on those issues.
Yeah, and that's not something that you do in 2 months. I mean, that's a long-term, ongoing process of trying to make change and trying to accommodate, you know, folks that have reasons for not living here, and it's a long process.
Well, and you used a term, an educational term of continuous improvement.
Sure.
But that's also a manufacturing term,
Right.
is continuous improvement. Well, it needs to be a community term too. Your community needs to be continuously improving itself, making things better for the people in the community, both for those who are already there, but also to attract other folks.
Well, there's no doubt that you and the board that serves in NEDC do a tremendous job in what's right for our community and heading us in the right direction and great leadership, and y'all continue to do the things that we think are good for our community, and it's been good. I mean, the last 15 years or so since we passed this tax, that it's been good, and people will sometimes question, and they still do. They say, "Well, I really don't see anything. I really don't hear anything." And I say, "Oh, you might just come down here one day and just sit here for an hour." And watch you folks on the phone and how things work. And, busy time.
Come down and visit, or drive through town and look at all the new commercial construction. Look at, if you drive through and ask yourself, as you look, and you ask yourself, was that here 15 years ago? You know, was that here 15 years ago? Did we have that 15 years ago?
Right.
You know, all of a sudden it's gonna blow your mind at the new things that have come in. Sometimes it happens so gradually, and it's kind of like our children. We watch our children grow up, and yeah, we know they're growing, but then the grandparents who see them twice a year come and go, my goodness, look how they've grown.
They sure have, they sure have.
Because it's gradual to us, but to them it's all. And so we don't notice it sometimes. And sometimes it happens in places like Shearer's Snacks, who is now almost at 500 employees.
Right.
Well, 15 years ago, they were 125.
You bet.
You know,
Yeah.
that's almost like 2 new factories.
It's
coming
exactly
into
right.
town.
Exactly right.
But it happens out there, and if you don't work out there, you don't see it, and so you don't know it, and so it just kind of goes unnoticed. But that's all part of the economic growth we have here, and really, it is the most economically active time since I've been in Newport, and I know from the others that they say since in many, many, many years.
Well, keep up the fine work, my good friend, and I know things are in good hands in downtown Newport at NEDC. I know we're doing the right things. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
John Chadwell, Newport Economic Development Commission down in Newport. Unity Health Harris Medical Center, and we get to meet a very interesting human being. This is Dr. Omar Aziz, A-Z-A-Z, A-Z-I-Z, and a guy who has a beautiful accent, and he's not actually from here, but tell us a little bit, Doc, of where you grew up, where you from, and we'll start from there.
I grew up in England. I trained in England. I worked in England as a doctor for 7 years, 3.5 in OBGYN. And then I decided to come to America because my family lives in Colorado. And I worked in Texas for 4 years, so this is where I've been living.
Now
I learned to say yo.
There you go, say y'all. Yes, sir. Well, you say being in Texas, and we talked about before we got on here, the unique thing that you talked about to me coming in here was that you lived in Lubbock, Texas for a little while, and then you lived in Newport, Arkansas for a little while, and you said that Newport, Arkansas was a lot like England as opposed to Lubbock, and explain that.
It's closer in terms of, well, I loved everybody here. The people are very, very friendly, and everything is green, as opposed to Texas, which is not green. But in terms of the environment, everything is very close to England. So the minute I landed in Arkansas, I was like, yeah, I'm staying here.
So anybody that's out there that ever complains about Newport, Arkansas, or Arkansas or whatever, listen to a guy coming from England right here and says he loves it in Arkansas. Been in Lubbock, Texas, and that's dry desert, no doubt about that.
That is true.
Well, let me ask you this, Doc.
I like Texas, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
I
Texas,
really
beautiful
love
country,
Texas.
beautiful country. What made you, as a young person, when did you decide and how did you decide that you wanted to become a doctor, and why did you choose the field that you
Right.
chose?
Well, I was influenced by my family, really. I've got so many family members who are doctors. So when I was a child, everybody used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, oh, I just want to be a doctor, because I didn't know anything else, really.
Right, yeah.
So I think that was a main thing. It's just a family influence. But when I started reading about medicine in general, it's just a different kind of science. It's a special science, and it really attracted me. So I decided to go into medical school, and I became a specialist in OBGYN, because it's a special specialty. It's the only specialty where you look after two patients at the same time, the mother and the baby.
There you go.
Never
Thought about it that way, but that
Yeah.
is right, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's considered an intrauterine pediatrician, really.
Right.
It's the only specialty that combines medicine and surgery at the same time.
Right, right.
So it's a really different specialty.
It's a different
I really
specialty,
like
but
it.
yeah, interesting to say the least. And and I got to ask you this: I mean, you're here officially, but not officially here to work. But kind of tell us about the dates that you're going to be here.
So I'm actually still in the process of moving. Still don't have my furniture yet. So.
Right, right.
But I'm starting mid-July.
Okay.
So my official starting date is the 16th of July.
Okay.
That's where I start my first clinic.
Good deal. I know
Yeah.
you're looking forward to it.
Absolutely, I'm very excited about it. So
May, we welcome you to Newport, Arkansas. We love our little town here. We think you'll fit in. You'll do great right
I
here.
love it. Everybody is very everybody has been amazing.
That is great.
And I also I'm actually honored to be working with Dr. Jackson and Dr. Jones. I've been really honored that they gave me the opportunity to
Absolutely.
join their practice. They're amazing.
Yeah, they been doing it a long time and are the leaders, no doubt, in their profession around northeast, north central Arkansas, and around the southwest United States, and been very, very good. And as a matter of fact, the doctor that delivered me was Dr. Jackson, but it wasn't this Dr. Jackson, it was his daddy.
Wow.
It was his daddy. So we've had a Dr. Jackson around here delivering babies for many, many, many
Yeah,
years.
I've heard a lot about them, and everything has been good.
Good
Everything
deal.
has been great. So I'm very excited about working with
Omar, good to see you, my
Thank you,
friend.
sir.
Welcome to Newport, Arkansas. Now tell me the two things you learned to say, y'all, and what was the other one you learned to say?
I'm fixing to.
I'm fixing to. If you can say y'all and I'm fixing to, I don't care if you're from England or anywhere else in the world. If you can say those, you fit right in Newport, Arkansas. Good
That
to
is
see you, my
true.
friend.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Farmer's Tire Mart, where the rubber meets the road, and we're located at 1501 Malcolm Avenue right here in Newport. FarmersTireMart.com on the web, or on Facebook, it's at Farmer's Tire Mart. Open since 1962, and Tommy and Linda Bain have been the owners since 1991. They're a tire dealer, they're a repair shop. What kind of tires can you get down there? Well, you get all different types of tires. If you need a passenger tire, they stock them. If you need a truck tire, they stock them. If you need farm tires, I'm sure they'll have them. Heavy equipment tires, if they don't have them in stock, they can get them for you. Tractor tires, they do tractor tires. So if you're looking for a tire for an ATV, automobile, heavy piece of machinery, whatever the case may be, think about Farmer's Tire Mart and let Tommy give you a price on a set of tires, or you might just need one big tire. Let him give you a price. I promise you, we'll be very, very competitive on price. You need a little repair work done on your automobile, whether it be an alignment service, you need some suspension work done, say just a basic tune-up or basic maintenance, they do all that. They do brakes, they do ball joints, U-joints, wheel bearings. They also have diagnostic services. If your little check engine light comes on, they've got the computer that can tell you why your engine light came on and what it needs to do to get off and what repairs might need to be made. You might not need any repairs at all. It could be something as simple as a sensor, and a lot of times it is just that. But oil service jobs, they'll check the belts, the hoses, the fluid levels, and the tire pressure. When you get in the heat of the summer, it's always good to have those tires checked. Really, you need them checked on a weekly basis. Drop by, they'll check your tires for absolutely free. But don't forget about us at Farmers Tire Mart. Not only do we do tires, we do a lot of other things from general maintenance on automobiles. We don't do major transmissions and major engines, but let me tell you what, we do about everything else when it comes to service on your automobile. And once again, we get to visit with Jan Jackson Maris at the Jackson's Funeral Home at the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue. It's always my pleasure to come in and get to visit with you, and you always make my day brighter when I leave here.
Well, you do mine too.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We are excited. It's a great time of year. It's fall time, harvest time, back to school. Lots of things going on in the Jackson's Funeral Home. Always big supporters, and we want to talk a little bit about this time of year in August.
Absolutely. I always get so excited because it's time for the kids to go back to school, and I love watching Facebook and all the first day of school pictures of all the kids, the little ones, the big ones, the ones who are seniors always surprise me, the Greyhounds and the Bulldogs and the Newark kids, and you know, you just see a big myriad and kids you don't see growing up that live out of town and out of state now, but still you get to see their first day of school pictures on Facebook, and it's just a fun time of year, and to kind of start where I live, you can kind of start hearing the school start back up and the bells start ringing and the track people start running and the bands start to practice, and it just is exciting. I love to sit on my back porch and listen to the band and see that junior high boys are usually the ones out in the track, in the middle of the track field playing football. So it's lots of fun to watch the new school year.
You know, Jackson Funeral Home has been a big supporter of our schools, of our kids, you know, of our community, and y'all give back tremendously to all, you know, big with Cable 15 TV and the Greyhound broadcast. We certainly appreciate that. But I think that's one of the things that you guys have laid your hat on. You say, we're community, we're here. We're here for the community, and you always have been.
We are here for the community, David, and we do our very best, whether it's supporting our school kids or our teachers or our veterans or just whoever needs supporting at the time. We try really hard to give back because the community has been good to us. Jackson County has been exceptionally good to the Jackson family, and we are very grateful.
Well, I know we started a long time ago.
We did.
And we've continued to improve on what's been very good and the best, and we're improving on very good and the best.
We try very hard well, what we do is always try to read and keep up with things and watch things that we think would be valuable to families, not just trends, but things that are truly valuable to help a family through a difficult time. And that's what we strive to do.
Any time that y'all have to provide your services, I mean, most of those times are very difficult times, some more difficult than others, but I mean, there's not good times, and I'm always amazed that, and I always call coming to the table and how you guys, you've prepared if you've prearranged, and if you haven't prearranged, you're fixing to get prepared in just a few short minutes of what I call perfection. I mean, it's just pretty good. It's pretty good at the Jackson Funeral Home. I mean, services that you guys have provided, and Lynn and I were talking about a recent, we'll go a long way, we'll drive a long way, we'll have a graveside service a long way. We had one recently with Sergeant Gay, and what a beautiful, I mean, it was a hot day that day, but what a beautiful service.
It was perfect for
Sarge.
Sarge.
Wasn't it just absolutely perfect for him, and Just what a gorgeous cemetery. And you think you're going, well, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you see this beautiful cemetery with all these beautiful trees. It's just, it was pretty good. It was pretty good because I got my water, as I always do. Jackson Funeral Home had some water, but we appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate Jackson County, and I think everybody who works here does. And I can promise you, it doesn't matter who works here. They work very hard and they try their best to please every family. It is, I would say, as important to them as it is to me, and I am grateful for them.
Linda Black and I talked about that before we walked in the door, about the employees and how they care.
They do.
They care.
They care.
Yeah.
It's genuine.
Genuine.
It's not a show and it's not a paycheck, although everybody wants their paychecks, including me. And that's
life.
That's what it takes for us to go, but it goes further than that, and I think they're an exceptional group of people.
We want to remind everybody to be safe at the start of the school year.
Absolutely. Please don't pass school buses, and be careful watching kids get to their bus stops in the morning, because it's not the same as summer hours.
That is right. That's exactly right. But I know you're excited, and we are definitely excited. We start our 25th year of doing Greyhound games on the television.
Oh,
my
wow.
36th year, as I might say, of broadcasting Greyhound games full time.
Wow.
So I've been doing it a while.
You have.
And I enjoy every moment. I don't see as well as I used to, and I can't see the field as well as I used to, but I enjoy being in a booth, and I enjoy being around those kids, because it's just Greyhound football. And we appreciate Jackson Funeral Home for being with us for those 25 plus years, and thank y'all so much for your business too.
Thank you, David.
Jan Jackson Maris at the Jackson Funeral Home, the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue. Everybody knows Mr. Andy May at M&P Insurance Services in downtown Newport, a beautiful new building. Always my pleasure to get to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Andy May. I kid Andy from time to time. I ask him if he's trimmed up a little bit. I ask him, so you down at your playing weight, and I think he's below his playing weight, but you can't find a program, huh?
Yeah, if anybody's got a program from 92, 93 Newport Greyhound roster,
We need it.
I need that, because I'd like to know where I was when I graduated, because I
you-
think I'm close.
You were a big man back then.
Oh.
You're a big man now, but you're not as big a man as what you were recently.
No, I was up to a little over 350 pounds, about 360 actually. And
Wow.
now I'm down to about 280. So
And now I say this, and I've told you this the other day, off camera. You look to be a slim 280, because you're a big man. I mean, you are a big man.
6'5", 6'6", somewhere
Yes,
in there,
sir.
but depends
Yes,
on if I
sir.
stand up straight or not.
Well, we got a lot of things going on down here in the insurance department, and some changes coming up, some dates to talk about. So let's just get right after it. Tell us what we want to talk about. First of all, health care is always an issue. We'll talk about some changes and so on and so forth.
It calls every day, and I wish I had answers. I can only tell you what I can tell you. It changes every single day. I mean,
Yes, sir.
It's like every day there's a new law, something changing. All I can tell you right now is the annual enrollment period for Medicare beneficiaries starts on October 15th.
Okay, coming up.
And that goes through December 7th. And the annual enrollment period, also known as open enrollment period, for under 65 or non-Medicare products, starts on November 1st and goes through December the 15th.
Okay.
So there are going to be some new plans for next year. I can't really say a whole lot about them.
Right.
yet
Know
because
exactly what they are.
Well, by law, I can't even talk about the stuff until October 1st.
I got
so,
you.
But there are going to be some new plans. And there will be some plans because starting January 1st of 2019, if you do not have health insurance, you will not be penalized on your taxes. There's
Okay.
not going to be a penalty.
Okay.
They have done away with the individual mandate.
Good.
That happened at the end of 2017 after the enrollment period stopped. So everybody thought that it was going to be, I don't have to have coverage for 2018, but the insurance company said, no, we can't do that because we've already got our rate structures calculated for X amount of people, and now if they don't have coverage, then that's going to cause us not to be able to make a profit. So they delayed it to January 1st of 2019. So There will be some plans for 2019 that are medically underwritten that will be a lot less expensive than the on exchange or off exchange ACA compliant plans that a lot of people have now. There will still be credits available, and this is something I run into pretty much on a weekly basis. It seems like there's about 75% of Arkansans that qualify for some type of tax credit or subsidy, if you will, to help pay for their health insurance. But there's only about 25% of people that actually apply for them because they don't know it.
Really?
You know, they'll come in here and, and we'll get to talking, well, okay, so you're a household of 4, husband, wife, 2 kids. You're a household of 4 and your employer doesn't offer coverage. Maybe your wife doesn't work because she takes care of the kids. You probably qualify for and it can be a substantial amount. I mean, it can be, several $100s a month. I mean, and so it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, that's the big, all you gotta do is, you can call me, I can ask you a half a dozen questions, figure out which way we need to go. I can tell you, I've got a chart laying on my desk, and I can tell you if you're gonna qualify for any help or not. So
the thing, Andy, is that there's so many changes from time to time, just like you saying, and sometimes you might not have the answer as soon as we call, but then again, you can do a little research and provide us with answers, and that's what you guys do, and that's what you guys do so well, you guys and ladies, is you can find the answers, you structure a plan, you save us some money, you give us the best protection for the least amount of dollars, and that's what's so important, and that's what y'all strive to do.
There's no cookie cutter approach to this stuff at all. I mean, it's literally each individual person. I can have 10 people come in and 10 people leave with 10 different plans.
Yeah.
I mean, and 10 different prices. I mean, it's individualized to each person who walks in the door.
Yeah, everybody's different.
And with my Medicare people, which most are over 65. Unless they're on disability or something, they're going to be over 65. A lot of changes happened with that this year in 2018 because full retirement age is now 66.
Right.
Well, you're eligible for Medicare at 65. So if you want to get Medicare at 65, well, then you have to pay your Part B premium. Well, if you're not retired and you're not drawing a Social Security check because you want to wait till 66, then you got to pay it, and the only way you can pay it is on a quarterly basis. They won't bill you for a monthly amount. You have to pay it for a quarter, and so it's had a lot of people confused. As well, am I really eligible for Medicare because I'm not going to retire till next year? But yes, you're still eligible for Medicare. When you turn 65, you are eligible for Medicare, even if your full retirement age isn't until 66. And I can help you get all that figured out. I mean, I do it. That's what I do all day.
All day long, you're answering questions.
That's what I was the guy that just left here. I mean,
well, we bring the questions in.
Yeah.
You'll find
I will
the
find
answer.
the answer.
You'll find the answer. There's no doubt about it. But there's lots of changes coming, and they do each and every year. And healthcare in general, more people with social media and so much national attention on healthcare reforms over the course of the last several years, it's got a lot of people's attention and saying, well, I need to dwell in this a little further.
The number one thing that I see happen, and it breaks my heart that this is how this works. There are so many companies, though, that say, we can get you a health insurance plan for $79 a month. Well, they tell you that, and then you sign up for it, and they send you a policy in the mail, and at the bottom of the policy, in little bitty words, it says, "This is not health insurance." And I'm not going to sit here and name drop and tell you all the companies. There are only 3 companies in the state of Arkansas that offer an actual health insurance plan.
Okay.
Arkansas Blue Cross Blue Shield, Qual Choice, and Centene, which is Ambetter. Ambetter of Arkansas.
There you go.
If you don't have that,
you don't have it.
Unless now some of your employer group plans, if you've got a company that say they're out of state somewhere, the main office is out of state, and they may have Cigna or Aetna, and they may provide coverage in Arkansas. But for you to purchase a plan in Arkansas, it's got to be
one of those.
To be an ACA compliant plan. The rest of this stuff, what they are is their PPO discount programs. So you go to your doctor and you show them this card, and the doctor says, well, I charge $100 for an office visit. Well, you might pay 50. You
Right,
know, they're giving
gotcha.
you a discount. But then if something major happens, then you find out that that's not covered.
Well, you can't
You
get
know.
much for $79.
Right. I
you
mean,
know?
and it might be 109 or whatever.
Right, or whatever,
But,
yeah.
I mean, you get on the internet, if you go in there and you Google health insurance, all these companies pop
Sure,
up.
yeah.
It says, okay, we've got affordable plans, and if you ever call one of those numbers, 800
They're
numbers,
gonna call you.
your phone will ring off the hook. I did it myself. I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to see how many people would call.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I hit submit, I mean, my phone rang just like within 2 minutes. And it was like every day for 2 weeks they'd call me, and so I'd start quizzing them, you know. And I actually had this one girl, she said, well, Trump has repealed Obamacare, and you don't even have to have that anymore. And I'm like, well, when did that happen? What date did that happen? You know, they don't even know what they're talking about. So,
No, and you do. That's why you're the
you
professional.
know, and
at
that's
it.
why I like to mess with them a little bit.
You bet.
But it was there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful what you get into, because you know, if you don't get into a plan between November 1st and December 15th, then you can't get into a
Right.
plan.
Right.
You know, and then you've already signed up for one of those other ones, and you know, come in here on December 16th, say, well, I found out this isn't really what I thought it was, and I'm like, I can't help you now.
Good
you
luck
know.
next year.
That's right.
Good luck
That's all we
next
can do is wait till next year.
Andy
so.
May, it's always my pleasure to come down and talk to the experts, and I know you're one of the experts in your field, and appreciate your time, my friend.
Yeah, hey, I enjoy it.
And now we need that program.
Yeah,
If you-
93 was the year I graduated, so we could use 91,
92,
92, probably 93. If somebody's got one in an archive somewhere, I know
We've
there's
got to
to
see
be.
it. We've got to see the playing weight of
Also,
where he was.
Because I think they always inflated those numbers just a little
Sure
bit
they did.
to make the competition, you know.
Fear you.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
guy weighed 235. He says he's 275.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
write it down there.
So I
Good.
probably actually probably about 305 on that program.
Right.
But I don't want to be back to that weight again. So.
I don't blame you, my friend. That's Andy May. We're at M&P Insurance Services in downtown Newport. St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street, and everybody knows Jay Cox. And Mr. Cox, welcome back to the program, my friend.
Good to be here.
Good.
to have you guys with us today.
Thank you, sir.
Good. And got a little rain going on outside, and been dry around here, but
It has been.
things are going well. And tell you what, the kids are getting ready to go back to school.
School time. It's back to school.
It is. They know around my house we've been scrambling around trying to buy school clothes but I tell you what's good for me. I'm fixing to take a couple of days off and spend some time with my kids before they go back to school.
There you go. There you go.
Here at St. Michael's, I don't get to take very many days off. It's so busy all the time, and so I'm kind of looking forward to that. But I know y'all are gearing up for football season.
Absolutely.
Greyhound.
Go Hounds.
Go Hounds. It's that time of the year, so looking forward to that. And but things are going good here at St. Michael's, and we need some staff. We need to hire some CNAs. If anybody's watching this video, we need some CNAs, and we have some positions open in nursing as well. So we would like to just offer that opportunity to come out and fill out an application with us. We have some spots available, all shifts. So we're hiring right now. So.
CNAs are entry-level positions
Yes.
that can lead into bigger and better things. I mean, you have to start somewhere in the nursing program. Talk a little bit about what's required of CNAs and what they're expected to do when they come to work here. And I know it's a great place to come to work. It's a great place to get started.
Well, actually, you have to have a license
Okay.
for a CNA, and the CNA deals a lot with personal care of the residents,
All right.
with some of the more intimate care, and so you know it's part of. To be honest with you, it's the kind of the backbone of a nursing home. The CNA. It really can make or break the reputation of a nursing home, because if you don't have good, solid personal care of the resident, you know, the word can get out fast.
Sure.
If you have good personal care or not. So we want good CNAs that have a heart to take care of these residents, because you know, when you get to a certain age, certain things like showering and, you know, using the restroom, feeding, getting dressed, you know, those kinds of things where, you know, growing up when you take care of those things on your own, now when you have to have assistants doing those things, you know, those are more private times. And so, one, we want to make sure we have trained professionals and then someone that's caring, because you know, you wouldn't want just anyone to help your loved one with those things. So we want to make sure we have trained professionals, people that care, people that are patient, people that have a heart for it. So, you know, we're looking for those types of individuals, not just not just someone that you know is just looking for a job, but someone that really that sees it as a calling for their life.
I've said this a lot about being in this business. You have to have a calling for this. This is not a paycheck job.
Right.
This is not
Exactly.
one of those. Well, I'll just go to work and I'll put in my 8 hours and go home and everything.
Right.
I mean, you got to really have that giving heart to work in this type of environment, and you need caring folks is what you need.
Yes. You know, one of the things you think about, I know as for me, and of course, you know, I don't work in those positions. I do admissions. But even in my position, I go home, I find myself, even when I'm sitting on the couch or laying at bed at night, I sit and sometimes wonder what's going on, you know, here at the nursing home. I wonder, you know, is everyone being taken care of, or is this being handled, is that being handled? It's one of those things that kind of gets in your blood, you know. You think about the residents, and we're here with them so much that they kind of become like your family.
Absolutely.
And so, and that's what we want. We want that connection made. We don't want it to be just another individual that you see, or it's just an acquaintance. We want our employees to be connected, you know, kind of like a family atmosphere. We want our employees to care about our residents, because when you have that caring aspect, then that's going to carry over into the care that you give, and it's not just a job,
Right.
But it's a lifestyle. You know, that caring atmosphere will carry over into the work that you do, and so, you know, it's not that we try to carry it home with us,
Right,
but
sure.
but you know, when
It just carries with you, doesn't it?
when
does.
it gets inside of you, it does. You know, you carry it home, you think about it, and you know, it becomes who you are. You know.
If people are interested in becoming a CNA and interested in going to work for what I call an up-and-coming company in just St. Michael's Place, what do we have to do? Who do we contact, and what do we have to do?
Well, first of all, you know, we don't offer training at this
Right.
time, but you can contact like ASU Newport. Of
Okay.
course, you know, we are we want people to support our local college.
Sure.
You know, keep it here in Jackson County. There are training programs at ASU Newport,
Okay.
so we definitely want people to stay here locally, and you can get training there. And nowadays, even in the high school, so we encourage you know, kids in high school, they can get into that training while they're in high school, and so when they graduate high school, and you know, my son in Newport High School is in the School of Innovation, and
Sure.
y'all may have, you know, be aware of some of the programs in high school now. You know, they offer School of Innovation, and through some of those programs, you know, they can get into the healthcare side of things even while they're in high school. And when they graduate high school, they can already be at the place where they can take that certification and get right out of high school as
Go
a
to work.
CNA.
Yeah.
You know, and so don't hold me to all the regulation there, but I know that some of those courses can be done, you know,
Absolutely.
while they're in high school. So, you know, the programs are set in place so that, you know, even right out of high school, they can start to work pretty quickly.
You bet.
So you know, the field's there, the education's there. You can start, but to start with us, if you have a license already, just come right out and fill out an application, and we'll put you to work quickly. You know, there's just about a 3-day process of a background check, and you know, a couple of tests that we have to run. You know, regulation, TB skin test, things like that. We have to kind of check you out a little bit,
Sure.
and other than that, we want to get you to work as quickly as possible, and then we actually have been known to have a little better pay rate than some of our competitors.
Good
so,
deal.
and that's always a good thing.
You bet you it is.
Better
You bet you.
paycheck's always a good thing.
Like that, don't you, my friend?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
a little extra on that paycheck for doing your job.
I'm
You
telling
bet,
you.
you bet. Well, Jay, we appreciate you taking time to visit with us. And we're at St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street, and good things happening out here. We need CNAs. If you're certified and qualified, give us a call, and like Jay said, we'll put you to work.
Yes, sir.
Jay Cox, good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street in Newport. Customized Vision Care, the Village Mall in Newport. Dr. Gavin McDowell, and he and I have been discussing on what we want to talk about today, and we came up with what?
Well, tomorrow is National Margarita Day.
Yeah, baby!
Let's talk about some different type of glasses.
Yes, sir.
Ones we want to fill with margaritas.
But what is that?
I wish I had a big prop, a big margarita glass would
prop?
have been nice.
But isn't today National Sunglass Day or something?
Today's National Sunglass, that's not near as important as tomorrow's National Margarita Day.
I agree with that.
So much more pertinent to talk about eyes and margaritas.
Well, you know, margaritas, if you get a few of them, disturbs the vision somewhat. I'm not an optometrist. Or an ophthalmologist.
You're not an expert,
I'm
but
not
you
an
have
expert.
dabbled in home science, have you not?
Well, home science will tell me that it does affect the vision somewhat.
Yeah, just a tad.
Driving ability it affects. If you have 4, 5, or 8, or 12, sometimes
Realistically, or all of them.
or all of them.
All of them.
I used to
We'll
drink
have
all
all
of
the
them.
margaritas.
Just let me have all of them, please.
Yes, sir.
How many would you like to have?
Bring me all the
of them?
margaritas you have.
Yes, sir. I'll take it at +1.
+1.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for one to go.
And a big one to go. A big one.
That'd
You
be
got to
awesome.
get a
I
big
wonder if you
one.
can do that. Can you do that at the bars?
Well, I don't know.
I'll find
Probably
out.
not.
You need to find out
What
later.
state you're in. Just get a big one to go. We have a professional show. We have a professional.
And it's just not this
business here.
piece.
It's not, no, this is not the one you need to be looking at. We actually take care of people's vision.
We do.
We do eye vision, as I
Eye
like
vi-
to call it. Not
Eye
ear
vision.
vision, not toe vision, but eye vision.
The only thing I don't check is hindsight. That's a total different medical specialty right
It
there.
is, isn't it? Oh, this guy, sometimes he just puts me to sleep. He's so boring.
I am.
Everything good at Dr. Gavin McDowell's
It is.
Eye Care.
It is
Custom eye care,
good.
is that good?
Yeah, swinging through the summer.
Been busy.
Been busy. Back to school starting up.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Well, we need to remind folks about
Yeah.
that, about
Yes.
coming to
Yes. That's.
kids.
We
I'm a
planned
genius.
this. We planned it. It's all scripted.
We have no idea what we talk about when we get on here. We just go.
That's pretty much right.
But if people are going to go to school, and it might be a good time to check their eyes, have their children's eyes checked.
I get a big flux of them right after school's up because
Right.
you know there's and I hate to say it, I'm in one of these two categories. We have good parents and the parents just trying to tread water, you know. And so the
You're one of those
good
too?
parents come in right at the end of school, start of summer, and just get it done and out of the way. So that way, you know, they got the rest of the summer somewhat handling things. Mind you, my kids have not been in for their summer visit yet, so I'm on the tread and water group.
Two categories.
It's gonna be like, crap, we gotta get them in before school starts next week. But yeah.
Gotta hurry in, hurry and get
Summertime is a great time to get your kids in, have them stop swimming for 30 minutes or so and come in here and let's get their exams done. That way, my favorite line of the whole school and vision-related campaigns is that a child should not have to fail to see. And what that means is there's so many, even in spite of the fact that schools are mandated where they check vision at certain grades, I don't want a kid getting into a position where they're in school and their grades start to slip, and then the last thing, just the light goes off on the parent or the child's head, like, oh wait, maybe it's their vision.
Right.
And I can't tell you the number of kids I've had come in and be like, how's your grades? And like, oh, they're not very good. And I do their vision, like, I think I know why.
I know why.
And so, a child shouldn't have to fail, or perform poorly in school to then have the opportunity to see that it's their vision related. So a child should not have to fail to see. And I'm a big proponent. Get them in often and early and check it out on a very regular basis.
I was going to ask you about a time frame. Somebody, say they're in the 3rd grade or whatever, and what in their vision, their eye, when will it deteriorate? How much does it deteriorate, and over what course of time does it deteriorate?
Well, that's a good question that has no answer.
Okay. It's different for everybody.
It's different for it's extremely variable, and it could happen with some kids. You talk to people who've worn glasses all their life, and you might talk to someone. I didn't get glasses until I was 16.
Right.
Another person I didn't have glasses, and I started wearing glasses when I was in 4th grade. It's totally way across the spectrum of how it's going to work out, and it's kind of predictable for different types of vision problems. Like children who are nearsighted, they may start showing signs very early.
Okay.
Kids who are very farsighted may not show signs or have difficulties until later in higher up in grades. So it's just there is no answer to that.
Well, there's no doubt that children would suffer if they can't see the board or whatever they use anymore.
Absolutely.
Or reading the computers. We have computers
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and if you can't see the computer, I mean, a children's grades will
And-
suffer, and the educational process suffers itself if
Absolutely,
they can't see.
absolutely, and you know, like I was saying earlier, the schools. If I may be totally wrong on this, but I think I'm right. They screen vision in kindergarten, second grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the schedule, but that is just that. That's a screening.
Right.
And I get just as many kids coming in who have failed a screening because they just weren't interested in what's going on.
Right.
Or, you know, the school nurses who are performing these screening tests, they're human.
Sure.
If I told you, hey, you know what, David, I've got 70 kids, I need you to check their vision in the next hour and a half. Just run that through that little machine. It'll do all the work for you. You
miss.
Toward the end, it's going to be like, fine, you can't see, bye, and pass it off. But, you know, it's important, and I love the fact that we do that, and that's actually state law where kids have their vision screened. If they failed, they have to have their vision checked by an eye professional.
By a professional.
But, you know, still, people fall through the cracks, and there's some things that won't present during a screening that could seriously affect, you know, a child's ability to see and function and perform well in school. So.
Well, there's no doubt that this is the time of year. I mean, we're in July, and school gets started in August, and you need to call and make appointments and get your appointments made, you know,
Yes.
right now to whether you're in Newport or Batesville or around Northeast Arkansas. And you've got several locations that you help folks, and Pocahontas, Truman,
Yes.
From Truman, Pocahontas, and have an office from Jonesboro, have an office in Truman.
Say that in English this
From
time.
Corning. You have an office in Pocahontas and Truman, is that correct?
Yes,
That is
yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Along with the one here in Newport.
Yeah.
And, we encourage, and our show airs on Newport and Batesville. We encourage the folks in Batesville to if you're looking for an eye care professional, not an eye vision care, but eye care professional, I totally recommend Dr. Gavin McDowell at Customized Vision Care. Funny guy, but a pretty good guy. And
Well, I can't sing and dance, so I gotta have.
you can
I
too.
gotta have some talent.
I've seen you. I've seen you, brother. You can sing and dance, and you can do all those things.
I want you to know that video was taken years ago, and
I've seen
I
it,
was
though.
told it would not be posted. That's what I'm
YouTube,
saying.
or YouTube. Well, once you get it on YouTube, it's worldwide, isn't
Oh
it?
man, it's there forever.
My friend, as always, a pleasure to see you. You need glasses. You think you need glasses. You want to try some contacts?
Yes,
We do that.
we do, and
Tell us about-
sunglasses.
And
it's National Sunglasses.
Tell me about sunglasses.
Oh,
Y'all
they're
have sunglasses?
fantastic. Oh, we got a couple.
What y'all got?
We got Oakley's, Ray-Bans,
Wow.
Nike's, Bolays,
Yeah.
Kate Spade, Coach.
I had some Bolays, which I call them Bolies, but
Bolays. I love Bolays.
I do too, and I had them for, well, I mean, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years maybe. I never had a pair of sunglasses, but I lost them about 3 years ago. I lost them, okay? And I happened to pull a suitcase out of the closet that I took to Florida 3 years ago, and lo and behold, there they were. I hadn't been back to Florida in 3
know what-
years, but
you know what
I
I
found
mean?
my sunglasses though.
You know what would have made that story even better?
What's that?
If you said, you know, I lost them, I never knew where they were, and then 3 years ago I was going on a trip, I pulled a suitcase out, they weren't there either. Anyway.
So I came in and bought some from Dr. McDowell.
Come got more.
Yes, man. He's Dr. Gavin McDowell. We're at Customized Vision Care. We're at the Newport Village Mall. Come see us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August edition of the Farmers Supply Association Agriculture Report. I'm Randy Kopechka, agronomist with Farmers Supply Association, and I was glad to say that word August. You know, it's one of my favorite months of the year. The crop season is wrapping up. Harvest will begin in August. Football season begins in August. Just a great month, in my opinion, and my favorite month. So glad to be taping here on August the 7th, and just going to talk about what's going on in our crop situation in our area right now, the Farmers Supply Association trade area. Again, harvest begins this month, so we're kind of winding down. Most of my calls over the last week or so have been really about two things. One, an insect situation in our soybeans and our rice, and the other thing, we're starting to get some calls on irrigation termination.
about finished up on corn and getting a lot of calls now starting on rice. So that's what I want to talk about today. First, briefly, the insect situation, and it's really been a pretty good year so far. You know, I was thinking that we're going to blow up, especially with our rice stink bugs. We're seeing some in the field before heading, but as heading has began, and now a lot of our rice is already turning yellow, as you can see behind me. The head's turning over and starting to turn ripe. The stink bug situation is really not ever blown up. You know, I've recommended 2 or 3 treatments where we were at or above threshold. And some other guys have sprayed some stink bugs, especially some of them are put out a fungicide right before heading, and they go ahead and throw an insecticide in there because it's really pretty economical to do that. So, but really the numbers have just never exploded. You do need to keep an eye on these, or keep sweeping these fields through about 60% hard door, when about 60% of that head is turning the straw colored look. So you know, even though we haven't had a big stink bug year, don't really expect it. Sometimes these late fields will get infested, so let's keep an eye on these fields until 60% hard dough. The soybean situation with insects, much the same. We keep thinking things are going to blow up. They've blown up certainly in South Arkansas in many areas. Up here, there's been some soybeans sprayed, and I've recommended spraying some fields, but overall the numbers have just never exploded. You know, getting a lot of, 5 for 25 sweeps, those kind of numbers. The treatment threshold is now a dynamic threshold depending on the price of how much it's going to cost you to spray and what the cost of beans are, and take those things into effect. If you're using the more economical insecticides, the cheaper ones with no residual, the generic pyrethroids and things like that, then the threshold is about 5 or 6 worms per 25 sweeps. If you're using the more expensive treatments that do have a significant residual in them, then this threshold goes up to about 10 to 11 worms per 25 sweeps. And again, really, I've had some numbers certainly in that 5 to 6 range, but not many in that upper range. I've just had 2 or 3 fields that I've seen those kind of numbers in, and even in those they were real small worms. And we got to remember that if those worms are less than a ½ inch long, then a lot of things can happen to them. We're seeing a lot of beneficials in the nets and things like that. So, if they're little bitty worms less than a ½ inch, we need to just kind of ride them out and check the field again if we've got time to do that. I know sometimes it's hard to check the fields that often, but if we can do that, it's better to just wait and make sure those larvae materialize and get to the size where they can be more damaging and not as influenced by the beneficial. So that's where we're at right now. Let's keep an eye on our stink bugs in our rice, our corn earworms in our soybeans, but again, they've not blown up, so hopefully it's not going to be a bad insect year. Again, as I mentioned, we're getting calls about irrigation termination. In corn, it's pretty much there. At corn, we go generally about 50 to 75% starch layer. Pull that ear off, an average ear off, shuck it, and break that cob in half, and then take one of the kernels from that middle of that cob and slice it lengthwise and see where that starch layer is at, where it's the hard layer is at. If it's generally about 75% or more down the kernel and you've got good moisture, you're in good shape. If it's on furrow irrigated corn, sometimes you can even stop a little earlier than that, but I generally like to get to about 75% with good moisture in corn as a general rule, and you feel pretty good about that. And again, a lot of our corn, most of our corn is now there, so we're about done with corn. Rice, you can see this field behind me is almost perfect for draining. 2 or 3 rules of thumb on rice. When I first started being a county agent, they always told me, if the end kernels are brown, if the bottom kernels at the base are milky, then you're generally pretty safe to terminate irrigation, drain the field. We've got a couple of rules of thumb that the Extension Service in Arkansas uses that I think are real good rules of thumb. Number 1, look at that head, that panicle. If it's straw colored for about 2/3 of that panicle, if the end 2/3 are straw colored, then you're generally pretty safe to drain. That's on silt loam and lighter soils. If it's a heavy clay soil that takes forever to dry out, then only about 1/3 of that panicle needs to be straw colored, and then you're pretty safe to drain. Another thing we look at is days from 50% heading. If you're 25 days past 50% heading, then you're generally pretty safe to drain the field. With long grain varieties, medium grain varieties, we like to leave it a little bit longer because it takes longer for that big fat kernel to dry down. So on medium grain varieties, generally need to go about 30 days past that 50% heading to drain. So again, we're taping August the 7th. I've recommended draining on a few fields. Most of them are getting really close, like the field behind me. I think it would be safe to be drained now. So we're getting there real quickly. We've had pretty much been on the fast track with all the hot weather we've had. Lastly, soybeans. Of course, we're a little ways away on most of our soybeans. We always used to say if the beans got to R6, which means the seed we're touching within the pods, you could terminate irrigation there. But a lot of good research over the last 10 years or so show that we need to go a little bit longer to maximize yield. So we go to what we call about R6.5, which is generally about the time that your pods or your plants are starting to turn color just a little bit. You're starting to see a little bit of yellowing and browning. Generally, that's where you're at, is that R6.5. Another thing you can do is open that pod up, and if those soybeans have separated from that white membrane in the pod, and if you've ever opened a bean up about late maturity, you know what I'm talking about. But that bean will become basically loose within that pod. It's not attached to that membrane, and once it's loose, obviously it's not taking in any more moisture or anything else. So the seed weight has been established there, and it's just a matter of dry down. So when you get to that point, again, looking from a distance, if you're seeing a little color, and again, to be more accurate, open that pod up, and if you're seeing those beans separated from that membrane, then you can go ahead and terminate irrigation on that. So again, it's August, we're getting there. Harvest will start later this month for both corn and rice, I think, and we should be going full bore when we do our next report in September. And I think our yield potentials are pretty good. We've had some good weather here lately. Temperatures have moderated. We've had pretty good sunshine, so I think we've got a chance to fill these grains out and have a good crop, and hopefully we'll have a good crop and a good harvest season. Until next month, this has been Randy Kopechka with your Farmers Supply Association Agriculture Report for August.
Each and every month, or most of the time each and every month, we get to visit with Mr. Ted Hall, the Executive Director of White River Area Agency on Aging. Missed you last month, my friend.
Absolutely.
But it's my pleasure to get to see you again today.
Absolutely.
We are in the dog days of summer, as they say.
We are.
Hot, and we want to kind of use that theme and talk about some very important issues that we have when we're talking about seniors.
Sure. And the reason why we really want to do it's really hot today.
Yes,
so
sir.
We have our senior centers that we have throughout our 10-county area, but right now we want to talk to the folks in Jackson County, because we know we have a new facility there, David, which you helped us that day. We had
Yes,
the
sir.
opening for that. But it's air conditioning, it's cool, but more important than that, and that is very important this time of year, of course, but it's a place where people can eat.
Sure.
And also there's a place they can visit with folks. There's activities there. If you want to shoot pool, or if you want to just whatever, there's places and programs that's on there all the time, whether it be talking about diabetes or learning how to make sure you don't learn to fall, how to kind of take precautions about that. So we have beanbag baseball going on, those kind of activities there. So there's always something going on. And plus, it's a place that people can eat, and so it's just real important that we get the word out that there is a place to go during the daytime in these days that's so hot. So the other thing that we really want to emphasize, David, as we were talking before we did the show, is that this is a time of year that we want people to be checking on seniors, simply because, as we've already mentioned already, it is hot,
Yes.
and making sure that people are in a place or can get to sure they're cool at nighttime and during the daytime. So this is our emphasis today as we do this program, is that let's check on seniors, let's know where they are. We do this at Christmas time because of the
Right.
cold weather, but we need to do it in the summertime. And so just because it's the right thing to do. And it's what we do at White River Area Agency. We take care of seniors, and whether somebody calling in wanting to know about some issue they've got going on, they need in-home services or whatever it is, they need to know about their drug plan or whatever, what White River Area Agency does. And we've been around, David, about 38, 39 years,
Right.
so it's long before I got here, but they've been doing something right, and so we wanted to continue the tradition to make sure that we are serving the seniors of the 10 counties we cover, and certainly in Independence County, Jackson County. So we just want to emphasize though that we're here to help. They can call 870-612-3000, and that's at our corporate office. And if you have questions, we can get you information, or I'll send you to different places as the requests come in. And we have these every day. And so, and you know, David, we have housing. We have housing, and we have our foster grandparent program, which we have 13 foster grandparents in the Newport public schools throughout the year. So, you know, it's we're all about being around. We have an office staff over in Newport that does just a great job. So we just want to make sure that seniors have a place. And sometimes it's amazing, David, how people don't know where to go. And they may know that we're around, but they don't know exactly what we do. And so sometimes they just need a little help, and that little help go a long way. So
well, and we want to remind the folks about where the location is. I mean, it's the old where the Castleberry Elementary School is. It was the kindergarten building. It had been completely remodeled. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that was a great. You know, I saw that building. Of course, I'm an old school man.
Sure.
And I saw that building. I knew it hadn't been used, and I didn't know how, but it had been several years they hadn't had anything in there. And so we just met with Dr. Bennett and the Newport School Board. And of course, a guy named David Black kind of helped us get in there with all that. And so it just it worked out where the board was willing to let us lease that building at a very small fee, like $1.
There you go.
But at least it put something in the building. And so we went back and we were able to write a grant for about $160,000. And so we were able to remodel that, and so you know, it was no cost to the school district or anything like that. But at the same time, it was just a neat project to have. You know, Frank Rogers Group got the bid to redo that, and so you know, we used all the folks in Newport that we could to make sure that we were utilizing money in the community. So, and of course, we work with Unity. They're actually the people, the providers in our world. They're the provider.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that take care of the meals, and they're responsible for activities that actually goes on in the senior center. So that's, David, as we've talked about, that is really was something in 1965. Lyndon Johnson brought this program in the Older Americans Act, and how insightful they were about how this ought to look. And it's lasted ever since then. And so it's interesting to work with. There is lots of rules and regulations, as there is in everything else. But it is a neat service for our seniors, and so it is a place. You know, there are some folks that have you know, they lost their husband or wife, and they don't have any place to go, but they can go there in that senior center,
have a little fun,
and they can have a little fun.
Yes,
and
sir.
The world is different. It's always going to be different, but if they got friends and people they can visit with, it just makes a difference in their lives. So that's kind of what we do every day, David.
You do that every day, taking care of seniors.
We try to take care, and I think that's probably what we need to be doing. And so we'll try to do that and continue to do that. So anyway, if they have questions about anything dealing with seniors, they can call us here at White River Area Agency on Aging at 612-3000. Of course, that'd be 870-612-3000.
Mr. Ted Hall, my pleasure as always to get to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good man, good organization, and working there in Newport, Batesville, and in the other counties throughout north central Arkansas.